All right, welcome back to Common Sense Garage. This is episode 3, I believe it is. Mr. Peacock decided not to grace you with his presence tonight, but it's okay. We're still trying to get some kinks worked out, still trying to get the idea worked out of how we can do 2 people on here on the set at a time. I hope to bring more people in. This time on Common Sense Garage, we're going to be talking about jack stands. And the purpose of the jack stand, how you can properly set the jack stand to support a vehicle, to support whatever you are jacking up. And we're going to talk briefly about a jack itself. So what are jack stands? Jack stands are commonly known as cinder blocks. They're commonly known as ramps. But more common than that, in a shade tree shop, you have a metal jack stand. Fairly simple to use. On the side of the jack stand, you'll see where they have a rating for load, how much weight they can carry. But also you'll notice that they're 2 separate colors. So you have the centerpiece that is actually your jack stand itself that holds whatever you are trying to lift or trying to support. It is kind of shaped like a half U on top, just so it gives steady support, mainly for up underneath your tie rods or up underneath the frame of a car. And you notice that there are a couple of lips on either side of it, and that's because the manufacturer doesn't want you to accidentally push your vehicle or whatever you're supporting off the jack stand. So they put the lip on there to kind of give it a little bit of extra support. Now you'll notice that on the holder for the stand itself, it's rather wide at the bottom. That's to give a steady foot to whatever you're sitting it on. It's very important that you place your jack stand on a level surface that is hard enough to support whatever you are trying to hold up. If it's 300 pounds, you don't want to put it on soft, muddy soil, because it's going to end up sinking down into the soil for you, and it's going to cause you some problems, cause your car to become unstable. So you also notice on the jack stand, on the jack itself, or the holder itself, you'll notice that it looks like a sawtooth pattern. The sawtooth pattern is designed so that it will lock itself into place along with the release lever. That's what this little arm is on the side of it. If you notice down inside, there's a little lever that releases on the inside as you lift up. So this is a professional jack. This is one that you might commonly find in your shade tree shop, mechanic shop, or something along those lines. They range anywhere from 1.5 ton to a 3-ton jack. As you pull the handle back, the jack lifts up, and it's doing that through hydraulic pressure. They do make air jacks. They do make screw type jacks, and I should have a picture up here for you for a screw type jack, so you can see the different types of jacks. So whenever you're jacking up a vehicle or jacking up an object, you want to make sure that you are supporting it as centered as possible for whatever you're lifting. The last thing that you want is for your object to fall off of the jack and hurt somebody or hurt you. Common sense will tell you that you don't like to be hurt. Hurt means pain. If something falls off of this jack, it's going to cause you pain, whether it be in the wallet or whether it be physical pain yourself to your body. So you want to make sure that it's completely supported and centered whenever you do that. So once you jack it up, this particular jack, since my lovely wife behind the camera wants me to demonstrate it, this one here is broke right now because it's been sitting out in the weather. Even if you're a shade tree mechanic, it doesn't mean to leave your tools outside in the weather. Put them under a carport, put them inside if you can, or cover them up with a tarp so that you don't have issues with rust or condensation being on them. Moisture is your enemy for any of your tools. If I turn this handle all the way clockwise and it stops, and then I begin to jack up, this jack plate is going to stay in the position that I leave it at. Once you jack the vehicle up to the proper height that you want it so that you can safely climb up underneath it or crawl up underneath it or roll underneath it, however you're getting under the vehicle or under the object, you always want to support it with at least 2 jack stands. Why 2? Because that's going to give you the best possible chance if the jack fails or the car or vehicle or object that you're jacking up comes down. It's going to give you the best possible chance of getting out and getting out safely before anything happens to you. But as I said before, once you jack it up, you put the jack stands up underneath it. And for the average home mechanic, they don't want the jack right up underneath the middle of the vehicle, because a lot of times that's where the oil pan is. That's where you have to get up underneath there to change oil or to work on the steering linkage or whatever it may be. But you want it out of the way. So you use 2 jack stands to support on either side of where you jack up. And as you raise these jack stands, you will notice that they lock into place. And now whatever you have is supported at that point, at that level. So then you can slowly begin to let your jack down until whatever you have rests on top of the jack stand. Now obviously you don't want to put anything that is easily bent or easily pinched, such as hoses or sheet metal on a car, because you could do a lot of damage if you are trying to support 3, 5, 1,500 pounds, whatever it may be, on these jack stands with a little flimsy piece of sheet metal or a little flimsy bolt. You can cause yourself a lot more trouble. So make sure it's something solid that you can support and set down onto this jack stand. If you don't have any other way to do it, I have seen back in the day, shade tree mechanics would use a 4x4 block of wood to set across the jack stands in order to give them a solid surface to reach between the frame links or between the frame of the vehicle or object that they're trying to hold up. It's the same way if you're jacking up a porch on a house, if you're jacking up whatever, you name it, you could jack up Big Bertha for all that goes. And as long as you had her supported, you could let the jack down and it would be great. We're not shaming anybody here because we all love to eat ourselves. So, you know, it is what it is. Once you are ready to crawl up underneath the vehicle, for today's purpose, it would be for a vehicle. Crawl up underneath the vehicle, you would let the jack down, slide the jack out of the way, do the work that you need to do to the vehicle. And then once you're done with the work, you would slide the jack back under it and commence to jacking it back up. Once you have the vehicle raised up off of the jack stands, the fastest and easiest way to get the jack stand out from up underneath the vehicle is to pull the release lever like I showed you before, right here on the side. And whenever you pull it up, watch pretty close because this is going to go fast, it drops all the way back down to its bottom position. And then you can slide the jack stand out from up underneath your vehicle. So there are several different types of jack stands. Like I said, some are more heavy duty than others. And in a pinch, you can use a center block. I don't recommend it. We here at Common Sense Garage do not condone it because that is your safety and your health that we are concerned about. And a center block has a greater chance of allowing the vehicle that you're trying to support to fall on top of you than a standard jack stand. Because there's been a recall recently on these for a particular store, but you can pick them up for about $20 a piece. Now, I know for some people that might be a lot of money, but when it comes to protecting you and your safety and your life, I don't think you can personally put a price tag on that. But I know for a fact, and I've had it happen to me before, that the jack has given out while I was up underneath the vehicle. And had it not been for jack stands, I wouldn't be here sitting here talking to you tonight. So that's it. But I'll have a list in the description for the recalls for this big name box store, because I'm not going to mention names because I shop there frequently and I don't want to harm their name. But it just so happened that there was some manufacturing defects and they could collapse. The jack stands themselves could collapse on you. I'll have a link down in the description with all of the serial numbers that you need to look at. Make sure if you bought them recently that you go and check those serial numbers, because I don't want you getting hurt being out working in your shop. So we'll catch you on the next one. See you next time.